I'm on the morning from A to Z. Love is always the energy. And I love you all equally. Wherever you might be. In a church and university. Yeah. I'm on the morning from A to Z. Really good morning. Love you all equally. Love is a dawning. And it's the energy. Really good morning. Love you wherever you might be. I'm on the morning from A to Z to Z to Z, wherever you might be, in a Georgia university, in nowhere one humanity. Oh, la, oh, 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 oh. I'm on the morning. Good day, good evening. Love is a dawning, never deceiving, always rewarding and relieving, always a great thing. Giving and receiving, love is always a great thing. Giving and receiving, always liberating and always relieving. All right, yeah, yeah, love, love. But listen, drive life into the modern day plantation. Love is always the vibration. You know, we're one human nation. No matter the situation. Yes. But let's use Balfour once more, sharing love and its associated energies. Well, this is the love chanting round, giving the people them one and in one and one. Well, listen, you Balfour once more, love time in the modern day plantation. Love is always vibration. You know, we're one human nation. So what happened this morning? Well, we're giving thanks and praise as always, for life. As we say, life is the single most precious gift, and we say love is the greatest energy ever in that life. The single most precious gift was shared or equally or distributed equally, in equal measure. Love is always the endeavor. Here, at least, we know that. Say blessings and love. Well, this morning, we're going to focus, and it's always love. Just know that. Love is the vibration. Say, is it naturalist? Barry, blessings and love. But love is always the focus, associated energies of love. Multiple. Yes. Love is the greatest energy. So this morning will be, another one of those associated energies. So it is actually paying attention to the love of self. And when we talk about the love of self, we're also talking about the individual and the collective at the same time. And ironically, the chant for this morning is one of the more controversial chants, but I'm encouraging my peoples listening this, and if I post a little snippet of this, not to take it seriously, and we agree to disagree. Now we know the fascination that we have in this world, particularly this country, for dogs, right? Yes. And this chant this morning is entitled Since When We're Gone. And you know the expression, gone to the dogs? Yes. So, for a lot of people, particularly in America, but we love dogs, believe it or not. They're one of my favorite pets. Yeah, man. And we have to love them. Yes, and we should not stop loving them. However, when I deeply reflect on where we are as humans, I think we're hating on ourselves too much. And it's reflected in our tendency to hate self, whether on an individual level or on a collective level, and go looking now for refuge, running for cover almost. And so a lot of us, the way we see it, the way I see it now, a lot of us, we prefer, a lot of us humans now, a growing number of us, are preferring to be around dogs rather than human beings. I know it sounds cool, but yes, we're leaving ourselves exposed, we're leaving on ourselves, unattended. We're so harsh and mean and cruel and evil to our own selves as human beings, individually and collectively. that right now a lot of us human beings are finding it difficult and hard and the toughest thing to love humans. We're having chants even call I hate humans by a human being. You know what I mean? And so we're looking, the two things are true. We're looking at them together and also separate. You know what I mean? Simultaneously. So while we're encouraging still people, love the dogs, however, love ourselves more. One has to love oneself first before you move on and to love another. Remember that. Even on an individual, collective, human level. Yeah. When you don't love yourself appropriately, you realize that you'll be out there searching for love. You can't find it because you haven't. You cannot find love outside of yourself when you haven't found it inside of yourself. You see what I mean? You cannot find love outside of yourself when you haven't found love inside of yourself. You see what I mean? Right. So encouraging people to come back to ourselves some more now. Love humans a little bit more. Love ourselves. We are human beings. This is the life category. You know how we do this, the naming of the different class of the lives. Yes. And there are scientific names that we give them and stuff. So we are high level creatures, right? Where we have not only the intellect, but we have the capacity to feel love, to feel different emotions. Yeah. And as much as AI, you know, tries to emulate us, they cannot because of the capacity that we have to love, to feel. Yes. The emotions that we have that separates us as human beings. Yes. And think AI is programmed, right, by human beings. So humans, we are the marvel. Yeah. So let's not stop to be fascinated by ourselves. So while the fascination of dogs continue, and it will continue, and I would hope it would continue, let's not stop the fascination of us human beings, because we are, every life is a marvel. However, human beings, we need to understand. We need to fully understand ourselves. And there's a lot of room for improvement in understanding ourselves. So please, my people, let's go into ourselves more, understand ourselves, meditate, slow down, reflect, understand ourselves individually and collectively. Yes, we have to love ourselves before we move on and love another. So yes, we can do this thing simultaneously. However, let's find that love, develop that love that we need to have for ourselves. Humans, we are hating on ourselves too much. And I just wonder, and when I observe and look, I see people, I hear it, I see it being lived out every day. The fascination for dogs is so much that you wonder if people are using it now to replace, to fill that void, that vacuum that we have now in our psyche given up on ourselves because we're thinking that we're too harsh and mean and cruel to each other. Yes, so people are now preferring to be around dogs more than human beings, themselves, ourselves. Because I shall not forget, I am a human being and I love dogs. Yes, man, I'm from Jamaica. And when we compare Jamaicans, I think it's a cultural thing. Jamaicans and even in Africa and other countries, you know what I mean? They don't have that fascination for dogs as like in America. But we do. Dogs is the most favorite, most common, most loved pet in Jamaica as well. However, in Jamaica, as Mutara Baruch had pointed out one time, I was listening to his program, and he was saying that we need to take care of our dogs down there even more because when we look at it, in Jamaica, you have a lot of stray dogs. Yes, and that is one of the things that I would encourage even Jamaicans and different other cultures outside of America to even, you know what I mean, it's a life. So take care of it more. You know, stray dogs, and when you drive and you go out on the road, you see a lot of dogs lying down on the road dead. You know what I mean? So the motorists on the road, you know what I mean, just wantonly, you know, and so it's a combination of both. It's that, you know, that tendency, yeah, that mentality of not having that understanding and love for these other animals. But when you don't have love for yourself, it's hard to find that. And sometimes it's built in the culture. So the fascination for dogs, nothing is wrong with this. However, it seems as if we have lost the fascination for ourselves as human beings, that love for ourselves. And now it is actually being displaced. And people are running to dogs now more for refuge and solace and that oasis, you know, rather than themselves as human beings. So the chant, let's love ourselves some more. So pay attention to this chant. So the chant this morning is since when we're gone to the dogs. I want a morning from A to Z. Love is always the energy. And I love you all equally wherever you might be, might be. So I'm not hating on the dogs, believe it or not. It's a debate. Oh, la, 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 ooh, la, ooh, la, 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 la. All right, no. So, chanting time. And I love our life of all hues and stripes. However, well, I love our life of all hues and stripes. However, one needs to love oneself before you move on and try to love another. Oh, Lord, yeah. All right, then. Have you ever observed this human fascination of all dogs ranging from Chihuahua to Dalmatian? And at the same time, there's growing hate of our own human nation. Oh, Lord, yeah. So what? Since when we gone? Since when we gone? Since when we gone? Want to be dogs? Since when we gone? Since when we gone? Since when we gone? Gone to the dogs. Since when we gone to the dogs? Want to be dogs, no born to be dogs. Yet we gone to the dogs. Since when? Since when we gone? Since when we gone? Since when we gone? Gone to the dogs. Since when we gone? Since when we gone? Since when we gone? Want to be dogs. All right then. What? Is not here, tire, here, dog, wait. Huh? Is not here, tire, here, dog, wait. This dog thing up for the beer dog. Well, it's not rate, I no rate, dog, wait. God make man before he make dog. It's not here, tire, here, dog, wait. This dog thing up for the beer dog. Well, it's not rate, I no rate, dog, wait. God made man before he make dog. All right. It's since when dogs take over the place, most humans seem to be on a dog chase. And since dogs take over the place, most homes in America now have a dog face. When since dogs take over the place, most humans seem to be on a dog chase. When since dogs take over the place, most homes in America have a dog face. When since dogs take over the place, when since dogs take over the place, most common word using the human space. When since dogs take over the place, seems like humans tired of them own human race. So what? Since when we gone? Since when we gone? Since when we gone? Want to be dogs? Since when we gone? Since when we gone? Since when we gone? Gone to the dogs? Since when we gone to the dogs? Want to be dogs? We no born to be dogs, yet we gone to the dogs. Since when? Since when we gone? Since when we gone? Since when we gone? Gone to the dogs. Since when we gone? Since when we gone? Since when we gone? I want to be dogs. All right, sure. Hear it. What up, dog? Man, I got up, dog. Dogs have homes, humans homeless, dog. What up, dog? Man, I got up, dog. Dogs I get the best, humans the less, dog. What up, dog? Man, I got up, dog. Most a man's best friend now is a next dog. What up, dog? Man, I got up, dog. Man, I compete to have the best dog. What up, dog? Man, I got up, dog. Humans naked, man, I dress, dog. What up, dog? Man, I got up, dog. This hatred for self have me vex, dog. What up, dog? Man, I got up, dog. This hatred for self have me vex, dog. What up, dog? Man, I got up, dog. I wonder what gonna happen next, dog. Since when we gone, since when we gone, since when we gone, want to be dogs. Since when we gone, since when we gone, since when we gone to the dogs. Since when we gone to the dogs, want to be dogs, we not born to be dogs, we gone to the dogs. Since when we gone, since when we gone, since when we gone to the dogs. Since then we gone, since then we gone, since then we gone to the dogs. It's not hate, I hate dog, wait. This dog thing up for the bait, dog. Well, it's not rate, I no rate, dog, wait. God made man before he made dog. It's since when dogs take over the place, most humans seem to be on a dog chase. When since dogs take over the place, most homes in America have a dog face. When since dogs take over the place, most common word using the human space. When since dogs take over the place, seems like humans tired of them own human race. Blessings and love, you know. Yes. This is the end of another iteration. We are one human nation, no matter the situation. You know, love ourselves first before we move on and try to love another. Yes, you have to find love within yourself before you find love in another. You know what I mean? You see what I mean? Please, let's love as sister and brother and live as sister and brother. Yeah. Until then, hasta mañana. Seen? Yes, cuídate, take care, bendiciones, blessings. Dios te bendiga, ya be with you all. Vida larga, larga vida. Long life, healthy life. Yes, stick with me, roll with me. Yes, let's live our lives. Greatest gift ever to the fullest. Discipline, full joy. Yes, love is the energy. Greatest energy ever. Blessings.